Welcome to Swarf and Chips. This week you're joining us for the Network Takeover show, and that's why I've got Colin sitting next to me.
And what a lovely change it is, sitting next to you, Lindsay. I'm sure you feel the same. Anyway, we're doing Network Takeover because the last time it was such a success. We had Bedford CNC, Newport CNC and Titan join us on the show, and since then they've had loads of people contact them about doing work, so I thought I'll do it again. And
on the sofa we've got Tim Allen from MJ Allen. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, thanks for inviting me.
Right, okay, you're a machine shop that casts and fabricates. Why does this make you different?
Yeah, well, actually, originally we were a foundry. That's our heritage. My father started the business in the late 50s as a pattern maker, which led us into casting, originally aluminium and then iron. And then latterly, certainly over the last 10, 15 years or so, a lot of investment into machining. So we're now able to offer fully finished castings and machining. So what makes us different is we take any of those sort of wrangling issues between foundries and machine shops out of the picture. We take care of the whole problem. So one piece of paper from our customer, they get the finished cast and machine component.
So a classic example from the video we did sort of 12, 18 months ago, blowholes, for example, in the castings.
Yeah, it's kind of like an engineering rule, isn't it? You'll uncover that blowhole or a defect on the last cut, and then who pays for it? Is it the casting that's at fault? Is it the machinist because you didn't, do it correctly? So we take care of all of that. It's our problem to solve, and we take care of it for the customer.
Tim, so you're telling us that you've got that continuity of quality, but are there any other benefits to the end user by going through yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're taking a lot of time out of the process. The lead time can be done concurrently, so we're not having to queue at different places in the process. Transportation is limited. You're not having to ship the components from us to a machine shop and back again. Sometimes security is an issue. We might be doing something for MOD and they want it all to be contained on the one site. It just simplifies the whole process. It takes cost out from the customer's point of view. It takes time out from the point of view of the customer as well.
The foundry one's an interesting one. I mean, do you have much competition? I know you specialise in some of the larger and less quantities, but is there a lot of competition for you?
Yeah, there is competition. I mean, we're located in Kent, so there aren't many foundries down in Kent. And we're unusual in that we cast both aluminium, bronze, copper alloys and iron as well. So we're pretty unique in that regard. And certainly in the sizes that we go up to, there isn't anybody else that's casting as big as we do. We can cast a gross weight in iron and ductile irons up to about 3 tonnes. A tonne in aluminium and a tonne in the copper alloys. So that certainly makes us unique where we are.
Sorry to cut. When you look these days, lots of engineers are setting up machine shops all the time. They're setting up a new company, buying a lathe, buying a machining centre. Commonplace, but there's not many foundries being set up, is there?
No, and it's unlikely. I mean, you hear of new foundries very, very rarely, and that's because of issues with environment, health and safety, the investment in furnaces, power coming in. It's much more likely that you're going to be a legacy foundry and then develop your offering over time, which is exactly how we've approached the market. So yeah, new foundries, you rarely hear of them.
Oh, we're meant to be doing 5 minutes, so you're meant to only have 5 minutes airtime, so let's start the 5 minutes from now. You've got an extra couple.
Thank you.
Have you got any more benefits towards the end user? Is there a cost benefit?
Yeah, there is a cost benefit. It's a point worth making because it's not necessarily the aggregate of the cheapest casting and the cheapest machining cost. I mean, customers can always go out and find cheaper, but we are giving really good value because we are saving them a lot of hidden costs. There isn't that extra paperwork, the extra QA to do necessarily because we're doing everything in-house. So we're saving them time and we're saving them money. It's not necessarily the cheapest price, but it's the best value.
What I like about your company is the fact that someone could go, right, okay, I need this part, you will cast it, you will cut it, but you also have finishing processes too.
Yeah, we can do painting, we can do sub-assembly. We really want to get involved as much as we can with the product. In fact, ideally, we would like to be involved with them when they start to design the product because we think we can add some value or take some cost out by getting involved with them when they're putting lines on paper. I know it's electronic these days, but we can probably point out some things that would save them money in the long run, making it easier for us to manufacture, and as we're machining it as well, really help them out at the design stage.
Does that tie in with this part here, this small component that you bought in
Yeah,
here?
well, this is a small, relatively small component for us. This is fairly unique in that we did get involved with the actual invention of this product. This is our own transmission that we designed for Ford for installation into transit vans to give them an off-road capability, that the transit all-wheel drive uses this transmission. So we actually did do the design for that. Now that's not a service that we necessarily offer, but we are very happy.
Oh, how's that?
That just shows you how heavy some of the castings are. We are happy to get involved with the machinist and involved with the designer and help them make it cheaper and more readily manufacturable, and that should save money in the long run.
Because with this one, they said, here's a space, make it fit in it.
Yeah, in this particular
Nice
instance, yeah, you've got the standard van. It's doing its normal transmission job, and they need it to do an off-road capability. So we are given the space available, and we design our transmission to fit that space.
And you're proving that it's not just one-offs, is it?
This is about 80 units a week. Now, in automotive terms, that's tiny, but for us, that's very significant. So that's one of the few running jobs that we've got. The majority of what we do is low volume, so 1s, 10s, 50s, that sort of thing.
Would you fixture this? Sorry, do you do the fixturing yourself?
This particular one, no. We did this as a turnkey package with the machine tool supplier, Heller, who did an excellent job, and they designed the fixtures for us. So this is hydraulic fixturing. But the majority of the time, with some of the bigger kit, we'll do our own fixtures in-house.
Okay.
Now, this is automotive. It's not just automotive that you do, though.
No, the majority of the work that we do is not automotive. It's big capital equipment, it's diesel engines. This is a pelletizing machine, the one behind you, that squeezes material into shape. So it's a big, heavy gearbox. The item behind me, just over my shoulder, that's the sump for a very large diesel engine. That's an aluminium casting, this one here. So it's a whole variety of things. Just in front of us on the table, the thing that looks like a very large tuning fork, that's a military installation. That's a naval gun, so it sits on the decks of ships.
Is it a lot of your work export as well? What's the ratio?
Quite a bit. We're exporting directly about 25 to 30% of everything we do, mainly into Northern Europe and some into the States. But our customers generally are international companies, so they're exporting. So we reckon 80% of what we do ends up overseas in the end.
That is pretty impressive. We spoke earlier about the size of the business. Just to give that some gravitas, how many people do you employ, and sort of what footprint does the business cover as an area? Yeah,
well, the group as a whole is about 32 million turnover, and the largest company that we've got is actually separate to this. It's automotive components. That's up in Alfreton. The company that we've got in Kent, which does the casting and machining, it's about 100 people, and turnover is about 8 million. Out of those two foundries and the machining and the design of the all-wheel drive transmissions.
Tim, we don't have long left, so could I ask you to just round up MJ Allen as a company for us?
If I concentrate on the castings and machining, in fact, we rebranded the business from MJ Allen Group Foundry and Machine Shop to MJ Allen Castings and Machining, trying to make it as obvious as possible. It's a one-stop shop for large components in lower volumes of higher complexity in a range of materials.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us on the sofa.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking.
Thank you. Perfect.
How's that?
All right.
Wow, spot on.